Well, Razorback fans, once again, you got totally screwed on the football schedule and the timing of the games. Who's surprised? Not me. So let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. As we know, so many of us will be heading up to Omaha. I'm actually leaving today. So wish me luck in my safe travels. Going to need it, but hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully see a different backdrop for the Locked On Razorbacks podcast for another week and a half. So looking forward to that. But we'll talk a little bit about that in the first game and also some memorable moments for the Razorbacks when it came to College World Series. But football news did come out. Significant news, at least significant for me. Some of you may not care about it as much as I do, but I love to know when games are going to be. Not only the dates, but more importantly, the times of the games. Now, we knew and talked about it for Arkansas football that their first three games, those times came out. Wasn't really surprising at all because you had Arkansas, of course, play a midday game against Alabama A&M, a midday game against Arkansas State, and then a night game against Ole Miss. We knew the first three game times. So not surprising, not upsetting, is what it is, whatever. Well, we now know that with the SEC, and since it's all on ESPN and ABC, and there's no connection with the CBS side of things, we know now early windows for games. They may not give the exact times, but you get to find out, is it an 11 a.m. game in the early window? Is it a midday afternoon game, or is it a night game? Is it a flex? Whatever could it be? Well, they've officially released this for the SEC, but specifically Arkansas. And as you can imagine, I'm pissed. So let's look at this. We know the first three games. There you go. Alabama A&M 3:15, Arkansas State at 4 p.m., and Ole Miss on the road at 6 p.m. or 6:45. Great. No problem. Memphis on the road. That is yet to be determined. TBA. We have no idea when it is. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Notre Dame, though. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the team that was in the national championship, college football playoff national championship last year, lost to Ohio State, a game that everyone has had circled, everyone is looking forward to, everyone is just so pumped up and excited about and can't wait to have happen because it is one of those marquee games, a game that's historical. It's never happened before as far as these two teams facing off against each other in the regular season. And when do you get this game? 11 a.m. on ABC, 11 a.m. It's absurd, folks. It is absolutely absurd. Now, I'm going to go back to the schedule. Give me a second. But this is just boils my nuggets. I understand that Arkansas is not this premier team that's going to garner a bunch of eyeballs. Totally understand it. Totally respect it. And I'm also not going to sit here and pretend that Arkansas is going to be this big-time team this upcoming season where they'll be top 10, top 25, and you're really missing out on an opportunity. I'm not pretending about any of that. But what I am saying is that when you have interesting games, unique matchups, first-time historical-type games, especially if it's Notre Dame versus any SEC team, it does not need to be at 11 a.m. Plain and simple. Sure, night games would be ideal, but I would even accept a 2:30, 3 p.m. game. I would be okay with that. But the historical game, this game that more than likely will never happen again, where these two teams face off in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, it'll never happen again. How do you get rewarded, Razorback fans? How do you get rewarded for this schedule? How do you get rewarded for all of it? You get a freaking 11 a.m. game against Notre Dame. It sucks because I know that it's still at that point in time of the year where the tailgating is still going to be awesome and it's still warm enough, the weather-wise, to have people out there. I know that there are people that may not think great about the season, and there could be a chance, in fact, a pretty good chance that you lose at least a game heading into it. But just imagine how stupid it's going to be if Arkansas pulled some crap out of their rear end and was 4-0 going into this game, maybe even flirting top 25, and Notre Dame same way, and you're going to have this game at 11 a.m. It's outrageous, and it's disgusting. I don't know who's in charge of it. If I was the administration of the University of Arkansas, as I was the athletic department, I would fight tooth and nail on this 100% because it is just awful. It's just awful. And I don't understand how this is allowed to happen. I really don't. Let's look at the other games in the SEC that week. There's probably some good ones. Let's see. Yeah, you got Alabama and Georgia. That's pretty good. I get it. Auburn, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Kentucky, Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky, South Carolina. We mentioned that one, right? Yeah. Mississippi State, Tennessee. We mentioned that. Yeah, great. Georgia, Alabama, of course. Hey, that gets it. That gets priority. Totally understand that one. Ole Miss and LSU. I'd even be okay with that one. But you get screwed. 11 a.m. game should have been saved. I know it's ABC and they value that time slot. I don't care. Give that to Auburn and Texas A&M. Give that to Tennessee, Mississippi State. Give it to Kentucky, South Carolina. Give it to one of those. But instead, you Razorback fans, after all you've been through, and the one thing you can look forward to is the game may not go very well, but the tailgate could be elite. Nope. Don't even get that. Your first major home game. Don't even get that. Don't even get the satisfaction. Don't even get the fun of having a game at least an afternoon spot where you can enjoy the tailgate, you can enjoy each other's company. Nope, you get boned. Thank you, SEC. We appreciate it. So let's move on because there's some other crap here. All right, so you have that big snooze fest at 11 a.m. And then you get a bye week. And then on October 11th against Tennessee on the road, it's a flex. So we have no idea. It could be an afternoon, could be morning. Same thing with A&M at home. Could be a night game. Boy, maybe the SEC really helps you out there and gives you the A&M game at night. Wouldn't that be nice? But don't worry. Just know that you're going to get another 11 a.m. game guaranteed against Auburn at home. It's given the early slot. You get Auburn at home early. Now, we could sit here and we could talk about like what could end up happening. But folks, Texas A&M, that game could be an 11 a.m. as well. I would like to think Arkansas doesn't get screwed that many times. But I was looking at the rest of the schedule for that week when Arkansas plays Texas A&M. And you got Alabama and Tennessee. Well, that's definitely going to be much better and get a lot of the love. Ole Miss and Georgia, that's definitely going to get a lot of the love. Texas and Kentucky, whatever. Vanderbilt, LSU, whatever. Florida, Mississippi State. Auburn, Missouri. South Carolina, Oklahoma. There's some options there. So who's to say that they don't give you 11 a.m. Texas A&M? Oh, but maybe they'll throw you a bone and give you that 3 o'clock kick. Or maybe they'll do the ever so coveted 8 p.m. kick. That would be really cool. But then Auburn, you get early. Great. Mississippi State, well, by George, you get an afternoon game. So you get the 3 o'clock slot to bring on the Bulldogs of Mississippi State at home. How quaint. Then you go on the road to LSU. That's an early game. I think LSU fans are pissed about that. I would be. But it kind of shows you exactly what they think about you. You got an early game against LSU. 11 a.m. game. Great. At Texas, a flex. So who knows? And then the only guaranteed night game you get at home, the only one, is Missouri. The Saturday after Thanksgiving. You know that game, folks. You know the game against Missouri that is during the Thanksgiving holiday and nobody really shows up to anyways, even if it's, great. You know that Missouri game where your season's gone down the toilet and not many people are going to show up. You know that Missouri game that not a whole lot of people tailgate for because they're just fed up and tired of it and having to deal with it. And it's just not going to be the same. Great. Listen, again, I want to reiterate the fact. I understand that Arkansas is not that team that gets a priority on scheduling when it comes to times of games. I understand it, all right? I'm not denying the fact. Like if Arkansas was a better team right now, totally would be deserving. But you're telling me that you can't get one, not one. You already got screwed with the amount of lack of home games in the beginning part of the schedule anyways. You can't give them just one guaranteed night game besides Missouri. That's it. The only time that we may see Donald W. Reynolds under the stars is going to be when they play Missouri when no one's there. Some of you are probably acting like, you're like, why, John, why do you care this much? You're overreacting. I don't, because it pisses me off. I like going to tailgates, just like you do. Even if the team's not great, the tailgating can still be fun. People spend a lot of money for those season tickets. A lot of money. Can you just not help them out a little bit? Help them out in the way of getting them all of the stuff that they need to make happen? To get excited about the season? It's just stupid, man. It's just dumb. Like your biggest games next year at home. You had a great home schedule this past year. You got two night games against SEC opponents with LSU and Tennessee. That was awesome. At least leading up to it. The Tennessee game was the greatest. And then leading up to it, at least, was great for LSU. The game didn't go that well, but it was great. And this year, all you got guaranteed is Missouri. Awesome. Notre Dame tailgate is going to be lame. Leading up to that game, it's going to be lame. And I could be wrong. I know Arkansas hasn't done very well anyways, but at home, Arkansas struggled. At home in early games, they've struggled the most. The Ole Miss game was last year. Yep, that was an 11 a.m. game. Did not go well. So I'm just, I know we got to get excited about baseball and pumped up and all of that. I get it. It just is really irritating that it's the Notre Dame game that really pissed me off. If Notre Dame was a night game or at least an afternoon game, I probably wouldn't mind the schedule as much. I really wouldn't. But of all the games that I really wanted, it just would have make all the other games even at 11 a.m. if it meant that Notre Dame game was at 6 p.m. I would even accept that. But instead, you get boned because no one cares about you, sadly. Either way. Enough about that nonsense. Let's get into something cool. Arkansas LSU. Is it the actual College World Series final? That's how some people are treating it. Let's talk about it on the next segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I'm here to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. You know, a lot of you are looking for tickets to the College World Series. They're hot commodities, especially for that particular game between Arkansas and LSU. Well, here's the deal. You may find other ticketing apps. There's be outrageous in prices and all of that stuff, but don't worry because with the Game Time app, you're going to get killer last-minute deals as well as no surprise fees when it comes to buying your tickets. Game Time is a total game changer. When you're looking on the app, not only do you be able to see exactly where you'd be sitting, but you'd also be able to see exactly how many tickets are available, where they're at. And if you find a better deal anywhere after buying your tickets with Game Time has a guarantee where they will give you the best deal and they will credit you 110% of the difference of the better deal that you once found. They promise that. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Okay, so the Razorbacks and LSU, game 1, 6 p.m. I mean, it is the game that everyone has circled. We talked about the ticket prices for this particular game. They are the most expensive, and it's not even close, and rightfully so. They're the two fan bases that, without question, are going to be represented the best up in Omaha. It is the night game. It is the Saturday. All signs, everything points towards this being the best, the absolute best across the board. And I can't tell you how excited I am for it. Nervous, anxious, of course, but excited. Because a lot of you feel, and even I feel this way, that if you beat LSU in game 1, you truly are in the driver's seat of getting to the World Series and winning it. Like, whoever wins this game is going to be in the driver's seat. No matter what, you losing a game is tough to overcome. It's tough to navigate through. In fact, the years that Arkansas has lost game one in the College World Series, it hasn't usually gone well. It's usually ended pretty quickly. But times that they've won game one, it's taken them a long way. The last time Arkansas was in Omaha, they played Stanford in game one, beat the brakes off of them. And then they played Ole Miss in game two, lost game two, but then they beat the brakes out of Auburn in game three, circled back. So, yeah, the game one, as we all know, is very important. But is this game between Arkansas and LSU the true College World Series title? Is it as simplistic as that? Is it as simplistic as saying whoever wins this game wins it all? Well, I think theoretically speaking, maybe even on the frame of, talking about the odds, yes, whoever wins this game is the odds-on favorite by far to win it all, for sure. That's not to insult or downplay what the other teams have accomplished. I'm just looking at it from the odds perspective. Everybody knows that this particular matchup has the two teams that have the most talented roster, that have Hall of Fame coaches, that have experience in College World Series, have talent, have everything. And I was a little surprised to see LSU favored, and not to say that they won't win. I'm not saying that at all. But, Arkansas ran through their regional, super regional pretty easily. LSU had a couple hiccups. I mean, Little Rock gave them all that they wanted. So hopefully Dave Van Horn and Little Rock have been talking, and getting some scouting there too. But this is as big of a game. This is as big of a game one for a College World Series I can remember. Seriously. You've had interesting matchups, but to have it to this level, and then not to mention all 8 teams this year in the College World Series, not a single one of them were in the College World Series a year ago. So you have brand new, fresh teams. And if I'm Arkansas and Dave Van Horn, and also if I'm LSU and Jay Johnson, I am going all in on this game. Zach Root's going to get the nod, as we know, for game one. LSU's going to go with their guy too. But neither team, I think, is going to have a particularly long leash if there's some struggles. I think both coaches understand how important it is. Because I'll also be honest, whoever loses this game, there's a very good chance they have to face each other again. Because, again, it's double elimination. And, if Arkansas lost or if LSU lost, they'd have to go through a Murray State team if they wanted to advance there. Maybe we'll see. Maybe if Louisville gets to that point. But I guess Louisville's on the other side. But my point is that you're going to have other teams you're going to have to face. But no matter what, even if you lose this game, you're still going to be the favorite in those games and in those matchups. So it may not be as easy as just saying, hey, game one winner, we'll see. But having that extra day and not having to win 4 in a row like you would if you lost this game sets you up for success. Just do whatever it takes, man. Do whatever it takes. Don't get stupid with it, but do whatever it takes. Take care of business. The first time that these two teams played in game one of that regular season series down in Baton Rouge, remember, it didn't get over with until like midnight, went to extra innings because of rain delays and whatnot. Arkansas started strong, but LSU came back, and then they ended up winning by 1 run. So very close game, a very close matchup. I expect this to be similar. I really do. It's going to come down to the wire. Both teams are going to want it. I'm going to be surprised if either team blows each other out. I'll take it this one step further, folks. I said this against Tennessee, and I'll say it again here. I'm not predicting it. But if Arkansas went in there and blew out LSU, and when I say blow out, beat them by 6 runs, 8 runs, something like that, something like what they did to Tennessee in game 2, or what they did to Creighton in game 2, something to that extent, if they did that, man, you're going to have to really get the jaws of life to try to keep me from going all in and believing that this is it. Like, it's just going to take a miracle upon miracles to get me to stop believing and stop smiling about it. But we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. I do want to bring up some memorable moments for Razorback baseball in the College World Series next on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So stay with us. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I was talking with some people about the College World Series with Arkansas and memorable moments. And it seems like everybody always thinks about the 2018 College World Series and how that ended and everything, which, yeah, I mean, it's memorable for all the wrong reasons. But it's not like that was the only time Arkansas had some pretty cool stuff happen in the College World Series. I think back when I was a kid, the 2004 team that ended up going to Omaha, they didn't do anything in there. I think they lost to Texas and Cal State Fullerton. But I remember just being very intrigued by the fact that it was such a big deal to people. Never even heard of the College World Series. But it was such a big deal. And Arkansas lost. I was like, man, hopefully they get to go back again. Well, they went through this long stretch of 5 years, 5 seasons. And in those stretches, they had some good teams. I mean, you had some of those teams had some pitchers like Nick Schmidt and Jess Todd and some really good players, but just never made it to that point until 2009 happened, to which you weren't even a national seed that year. You were a team that was going on the road and trying to take care of business, and you did. You went through the stretch, and you had one of my favorite moments, if not my favorite moments of all time, the Brett Eibner 2-run home run shot in the top of the 9th inning against Virginia. Just an absolute piss missile, and ended up going to extra innings. And a lot of people forget that in that moment, when that happened, you still had the bottom of the 9th. Virginia loaded the bases with 1 out. All they got to do is score and walk it off. And the ball got hit to my boy Tim Carver, freshman Tim Carver, or sophomore. He was a young kid, but he got put in there, made the double play, the 6-4-3, and they got out of it. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. Goes to extras. Arkansas brings in Dallas Keuchel, ever heard of him, to help out when the bases were loaded once again with 2 outs. Arkansas gets the out, moves on. They do get a 1-run score. They take care of business. They close it out, and they move on. Like, that was just such an awesome moment and an awesome game. One of the most memorable games, my favorite game of all time. But, you think about that. You think about in 2012 and getting to that point and some of the games that you won where you were right there. South Carolina and Tanner English and Perry Costello, all that stuff to get a lot of the love and talk about it. But you were a good enough team to win it that year, and you had to win a few games to get to that point, which you did. And then 2015 didn't go particularly well. It was more about the run than it was there. But 2018, yeah, it didn't end the way you wanted it to. But, beating Texas with Heston Kjerstad shoving the Texas player down and Blaine Knight talking about Cody Clemens when he's like, I don't care if he's got 24 jacks on the year or not. I'm going to go right at him. That and taking care of business against Brady Singer, where he just made mincemeat of him for Florida a few games later. He took care of business, man. Even in game 1 against Oregon State, you looked good. You looked really good. 2019 was one of those weird years where you were really good, but 1-run games is what made you go 0-2. You were a better team to go 0-2. But you can't win if you can't score. And Arkansas lost both those games by 1 run. And losing that first game was everything. So that was disappointing. 2022 was great. We mentioned a few moments of that. My point is this. I know that people think Arkansas can be cursed and everything's bad and terrible and frustrating and everything. Totally understand it. Totally get it. However, you've had some good moments. Some great moments, some great games, some great performances, all of that. It's not been all bad. But let's hope that this year is full of great moments and great games, while also mixing in the College World Series title. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Wouldn't that be pretty great? I think so. Let's make a run out of it. Let's go to Omaha and stay for a very long time. Let's make it our home for a week or so. And let's bring home that trophy. Because, man, oh, man, it feels good. You feel good. But I want to feel great. And you're this close to it. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. See you then.